I chose neutrality over my son's pain, now he's gone. I, 46 female, am in a terrible situation with my son, and I genuinely don't know how to fix it. My son, Ethan, 24 male, refuses to speak to me after I supported my daughter, Olivia, 22 female, dating someone from his past, someone he claims made his life miserable. I need to know if there's any way to mend things with him because I never meant to hurt him. For context, Ethan and Olivia were always close growing up despite their differences. Ethan was more reserved, academically driven, and a bit of a loner. Olivia was always outgoing, popular, and social. Their personalities often clashed, but they had each other's backs, until Olivia started dating Ryan, 25 male. Ryan was one of Ethan's classmates in high school, and according to Ethan, Ryan bullied him relentlessly. I remember Ethan mentioning issues with some kids back then, but I always thought they were just teenage squabbles. He never elaborated much, and I assumed if things were truly serious, the school would have intervened. Looking back, maybe I should have paid more attention. Fast forward to last year, Olivia came home from college and introduced Ryan as her boyfriend. She was absolutely smitten with him, saying he had changed and matured. He had a stable job, treated her well, and was not the same person he was in high school. When Ethan found out, he was furious. He refused to come to family gatherings if Ryan was present, claiming I was choosing Olivia's happiness over his pain. I told Ethan that people change, and if Olivia was happy, we should support her. He accused me of dismissing his trauma and acting like his suffering didn't matter. I didn't see it that way. I just didn't want to punish Ryan forever for something he did as a teenager. But Ethan was adamant that Ryan's bullying left lasting scars, and he couldn't believe his own mother would side with someone who tormented him. Things escalated last month when I invited Olivia and Ryan over for dinner, knowing Ethan would be there. I truly thought if they spent time together, Ethan would see that Ryan had changed. But the moment Ethan saw him walk through the door, he snapped. He yelled at me for blindsiding him, called me a horrible mother, and left. A week later, he sent me a text saying he no longer considers me his mother and will be cutting all contact. I was devastated. I tried reaching out multiple times, but he either ignores me or sends short, cold responses like, "There's nothing to talk about." Olivia, on the other hand, is furious with Ethan, saying he's overreacting and that she has the right to date whomever she wants. Ryan has even tried to apologize, but Ethan won't hear it. To make matters worse, Ethan told his father, Mark, 48 Mark, about everything. Mark and I divorced when Ethan was 12 and Olivia was 10. While he was never a terrible father, he was emotionally distant, prioritizing his career over family. After the divorce, he moved to another state and only saw the kids a few times a year. He paid child support and occasionally sent gifts, but he was never actively involved in their daily lives. Ethan, being older, took the divorce harder. He had always longed for his father's attention, but after years of being let down, he eventually stopped trying. Olivia, on the other hand, adapted more easily. She was more social and independent, so she never clung to the idea of having a present father the way Ethan did. When Mark found out what happened, he actually called me furious. He told me that I had failed to protect our son, and that if he had known the full extent of the bullying, he would have stepped in years ago. He even offered for Ethan to move in with him, but Ethan declined, saying he wasn't looking for a father now. He just wanted distance from the people who had hurt him. Mark's words stung. We were never on great terms, but hearing him say that I had failed our son made me realize how badly I had handled this. But now, I don't know how to fix it. Did I really do something so unforgivable? Is there any way to mend this? Update. First of all, I want to thank everyone who took the time to respond, even those who were brutally honest. I realize now that I truly underestimated the depth of Ethan's pain. After reading many comments, I decided to take a hard look at my actions and try to make things right. I reached out to Ethan again, this time writing a long, heartfelt email. I told him I was sorry for dismissing his feelings and that I now understood how deep the wounds ran. I admitted that I made a mistake in trying to force a reconciliation, and I should have believed him from the start. I told him I was ready to listen whenever he was ready to talk. A week went by with no response and I started to lose hope. Then, Olivia called me, furious. Apparently Ethan had responded not to me but to her. He told her she was dead to him, that she had betrayed him, and that he never wanted to see her or Ryan again. Olivia was in tears, saying Ethan was cruel and unreasonable. She demanded I take her side, but for the first time I hesitated. That same evening, I got a call from my sister, who has always been close to Ethan. She said he came to visit her, and finally opened up about what Ryan had done to him. It wasn't just teasing or petty fights. Ryan had humiliated him in front of the whole school, spread cruel rumors about him, and even physically hurt him on multiple occasions. One incident involved Ryan locking Ethan in a janitor's closet for hours during a school dance while everyone laughed outside. Another time, Ryan orchestrated a prank that led to Ethan being falsely accused of cheating, nearly costing him a scholarship. Hearing these details broke me. How had I never known? My son suffered so much, and I had brushed it off. My sister told me that Ethan was truly done with me if I continued to defend Olivia and Ryan. She urged me to see this from his perspective. If someone had tormented Olivia that way, would I ever forgive them? I knew I had one last chance. I went to Ethan's apartment, fully prepared for him to slam the door in my face. But he opened it, looking exhausted and wary. I told him everything, how sorry I was, how I finally understood, and how I had failed him as a mother. I told him I wouldn't make excuses and that I didn't expect immediate forgiveness, but I wanted to try to earn it. I also told him I wouldn't support Olivia's relationship anymore. Ethan didn't say much, but he didn't shut the door on me either. That night we sat in silence for a long time before he finally said, "I don't know if I can ever trust you again." That hurt, but I knew I deserved it. As for Olivia, things have completely blown up. She accused me of choosing Ethan over her, saying I had no right to disapprove of her relationship now. She and Ryan are still together, but the family is fractured beyond repair. Ethan still won't speak to Olivia, and Mark has made it clear he sides with Ethan on this. He even called me again, saying that Olivia is selfish and that I should have stopped this from the start. I don't know what the future holds, but for now I'm focusing on earning my son's trust back. And I've learned a painful lesson. Sometimes being neutral isn't the right choice. Sometimes you have to stand by the person who was wronged, even if it means making hard choices. Update 2. I wish I had better news, but things have only gotten worse. A few months after my last update, Olivia called me crying. She was pregnant. At first I thought maybe this would be a turning point, that Ryan would step up and Ethan might soften at the idea of his sister starting a family. I was wrong. When Olivia told Ryan, he panicked. He started pulling away, giving her excuses about not being ready and needing time to think. Then a week later he completely disappeared, changed his number, deleted his social media, and even moved out of his apartment without telling her. He was gone. Olivia was devastated. She came to me, begging for help. I took her in, of course. No matter how angry I was with her before, she was still my daughter, and she was pregnant and alone. But I couldn't ignore the bitter irony of the situation. Olivia had destroyed her relationship with Ethan for Ryan, yet Ryan had no loyalty to her at all. When Ethan found out, he didn't even look surprised. His only response was, "Now she knows what it feels like to be abandoned." That was when it hit me. Ethan was done with Olivia. There was no coming back from this for him. He wasn't even happy that Ryan had left her. He just didn't care anymore. He had truly washed his hands of her. I told him Olivia was struggling and that she needed support, but he refused. She made her choice, he said. She picked him over me, and now she has to live with it. I couldn't argue with him. He wasn't wrong. Mark surprisingly reached out to Olivia, even though he had been furious with her before. He told her that she needed to focus on her child now, and that he would help her financially, but nothing beyond that. He wasn't going to play dad to her baby, but he wouldn't let his grandchild suffer. Olivia resented that. She wanted unconditional support, but Mark wasn't willing to forget what she had done to Ethan. As for me, I was caught in the middle. I helped Olivia, but I also felt responsible for what happened. If I had listened to Ethan from the start, none of this would have happened. But the worst part? Ryan wasn't done ruining our lives yet. Update 3. A month after Olivia's pregnancy became public knowledge, Ryan resurfaced, not to apologize. Not to take responsibility, but to brag. He showed up at a bar Ethan was at with some old high school friends. He was drunk and laughing about how he had dodged a bullet by leaving Olivia, boasting about how she was desperate and how he had no intention of ever being a father. Ethan snapped. I wasn't there, but from what I heard, Ethan beat the living hell out of Ryan. He didn't just throw a punch, he unleashed years of bottled-up anger. It took multiple people to pull him off Ryan. Ryan left with a broken nose, 2 black eyes, and a busted lip. Ethan walked away with bloody knuckles and absolutely no regrets. The police were called, but Ryan didn't press charges, probably because he knew he deserved it. Or maybe he was too humiliated to admit that the quiet, nerdy kid he used to torment had just wrecked him. When Olivia found out, she had the audacity to be mad at Ethan. She accused him of sinking to Ryan's level and ruining his own life. Ethan just laughed in her face. "You ruined my life the second you chose him," he told her. "Now you get to live with the consequences." That was the last time Ethan spoke to Olivia. Final update. Ethan has completely moved on from our family, and I don't blame him. After everything that happened, he accepted a job offer from Mark. Mark owns a successful business, and for years, Ethan refused any help from him. But after everything with Olivia and Ryan, Ethan decided it was time to stop holding grudges against the one parent who actually stood by him. Mark helped him move out of state and set him up with a job. From what I hear, Ethan is doing well, thriving even. He's in a serious relationship with a woman he adores, and they recently bought a house together. He hasn't spoken to Olivia in over a year, and I doubt he ever will. As for Olivia, she had her baby, a little boy. She's trying to rebuild her life, but it's been hard. She lost not just Ryan but also Ethan and Mark's support. She wants me to convince Ethan to meet his nephew, but I won't push him anymore. He deserves his peace. And me? I've accepted that I may never fully repair my relationship with my son. I'll keep reaching out, but I no longer expect anything. I lost him the day I chose neutrality over his pain. I've learned my lesson. Some wounds don't heal and some betrayals can't be undone. TLDR, I supported my daughter Olivia dating Ryan, my son Ethan's high school bully. Ethan cut ties with me for dismissing his trauma. Olivia got pregnant, and Ryan abandoned her. Ethan beat up Ryan after Ryan bragged about ditching Olivia. Ethan moved away, got a great job through his father, and no longer speaks to Olivia. Top comments. Usarum writes, "You sided with his abuser. Now you want him to forget? He owes you nothing." You Daniel thinks, "I'm so glad Ethan is doing well. He deserved better from the start." You Rebecca 22. Olivia threw her brother away for Ryan and Ryan threw her away. The irony is painful.